Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Let's get back to the theory of consumer behavior. And now we're going to bring together a few concepts that you've seen over the last few videos. And now we're going to answer the question, what is the optimal bundle? So we've looked at a lot of different variables, and now we are going to see, I'm just going to put an asterisk next to x1, x2. All that means is this bundle, x1, x2, with an asterisk is the optimal bundle. That makes us the most happy. So the parameters we've looked at, price of good 1, price of good 2, income of the consumer, and their tastes and preferences. So I'm going to refer to some of the videos before this and make sure you understand those. So we've talked about the budget line, which is what can we afford to buy. And we've also looked at consumer preferences based on indifference curves. So throughout this video, there are going to be pop-up links to the top right of the video on videos about indifference curves, about budget lines, and what it means to interpret those variables. So make sure you understand those concepts before now we put everything together and say what bundle is going to be the optimal. So when we talk about bundle, or actually let me paint a picture for you and think about this before we continue. So let's say you're going on a holiday. Pick a spot. Let's say you're going to a mountain, or you're going for a cruise, or whatever it is. And in relation to this, you go there, you want to buy some things, right? You might want to buy some gifts for your friends to bring back with you. You might want to buy some clothes for yourself. You might want to buy a souvenir for yourself. So any number of goods that you might want to buy, and then your parents have given you some money to spend. So you go to a vacation. You have some money. You know the prices of the goods that you want to buy. Those are given by these parameters. You know your preferences, which is what you want to buy, which is different for everyone. Now the question is, how do you choose based on the prices, based on your money that your parents have given you, which is the income, and based on your preferences, what is the optimal bundle? Should you buy 2 jeans for yourself and just 1 souvenir for your friend, or should you buy 3 souvenirs for 3 friends and just one t-shirt for yourself? So what combination is most optimal is what we're going to talk about here. So even though this is theoretical, it's very relevant, right? Next time you go on a vacation, think about that. So one thing we're going to assume about consumers, which is you and I, is we are rational. What a rational consumer means, what we mean by that is that a rational person is somebody who knows what they like and they know what they don't like, and they effectively try to reach an outcome which makes them more happy. So in context to this chapter, what a rational person would be is, given their prices and incomes and preferences, they try to make themselves the most happy that they can given those parameters. All right? So obviously we would like to spend a lot more, but we are constrained by the income that we have. All right, so let's put everything together now. So given these parameters, and make sure you understand these from the previous video. You've seen this graph a number of times. Let's say you have 2 goods, good 1 on the x-axis, good 2 on the vertical axis. You know from the beginning of this chapter what a budget line means. A budget line means, given the prices, price of good 1, price of good 2, and income, what is affordable. Right? So we know what points outside, what points inside, and what points on the budget line means. Again, make sure you go look at the video on that's come up on your pop-up on the right of your top right of your screen if you do not remember what budget lines are. The next thing we talked about are indifference curves. Right? So budget line is one, and then indifference curves is another. So this is the budget line, which is, well, we'll talk about that later. And then indifference curve, again, make sure go watch the pop-up link on the top right if you don't remember what indifference curves are. This tells us, given our preferences for consumers, how do we choose the bundles we choose? Right? So if you are confused about the shape of the indifference curve or anything in relation to that, make sure that you go listen to that video. All right, so let me just draw some indifference curves, and then we'll see. So let's say this is indifference curve 1, this is indifference curve 2, and this is indifference curve 3. So what you should also remember is the concept of utility. You should know that indifference curve 1, every bundle on indifference curve 1 is going to have a higher utility than every bundle on indifference curve 2, and then also every bundle on indifference curve 3. So let me make some numbers up. So let's say if this gives you a level of happiness of 30, and indifference curve 2 gives you a level of happiness of 20, and indifference curve 3 gives you a level of happiness of 10. So all that means is that every point on indifference curve 3 will give you a level of happiness 10, and as you move outward, you will be happier. The budget line tells us what we can afford to buy. All right, so now let's pick some bundles and see what the optimal choice is going to be. So let me just pick some random bundles here. Let me label them. All right. So obviously, the further out you are, the happier you are. So we would like to be at A, but given our budget line, we cannot afford that. All right, so A is not affordable given our current income. So if your parents give you more money, maybe you can reach there. But given the income that they've given you, you are not able to reach there. Points B and C make you equally happy. However, at point C, you're outside your budget constraint, your budget line, right? You cannot afford to buy that. Point B is both on this indifference curve, which gives you a level of happiness of 20, and it is also affordable because you're on the budget line. So make sure you're very clear what points on, inside, and outside the budget line means, and you might want to go look at the video if you're not clear on that. And point D gives you a level of happiness of 10, which is less than 20, but it's affordable because you're inside the budget line. So between D and B, you would prefer B because you're getting a higher level of happiness, and it is also affordable. So, A is not affordable. B is preferable to D, so D is eliminated. B and C gives you the same level of happiness, right? You're equally happy, but B is affordable, C is not. So C is not affordable either. So B is both affordable, and you are going to be equally, that's the highest level of happiness that you can get. So when we talk about what an optimal choice is, X1 star, X2 star, that is going to be what we choose at point B. So make sure you understand theoretically the combination of, when we've put together indifference curves and budget constraints, what is the most level of happiness we can get given the constraints. Right? So one more thing, and we'll wrap up. So if we, I've said that it's your budget line, that's your indifference curve, and that's your optimal bundle, bundle A. Let's talk about the slopes of these two lines. So again, we have talked about slopes of indifference curves, which is change in X2 over change in X1. And the slope of budget constraint is the relative prices. Again, make sure you're clear on that. So they both are negatively sloped. So, we can sort of ignore the negative sign and compare P1 over P2 relative to change in X2 over change in X1. All right. So let me pick another indifference curve, and let me pick another point B. So both A and B, you are spending the most you can given the prices. So both A and B are affordable, and that's the most you can spend. But now in terms of how much happiness you get, at point B, you can see the slope of the indifference curve is steeper. This is higher. Let's say this is 2, and then the slope of the budget constraint is lower. So let me just make some numbers up, and then I'll talk about it. So if the slope of the indifference curve is 2 in its absolute terms, what that means is I'm willing to give up 2 units of good 2 to get 1 unit of good 1 and be equally happy. All right? And then what the slope of the budget constraint of, and again, it's in its absolute terms 1, that what that means is that the price of the 2 goods are, in terms of each other, is 1. So if I go to the market, I can spend 1 unit and buy either of the 2 goods. So if I'm willing to give up 2 units of good 2 to get 1 unit of good 1, but the prices of both are the same, what that means is I will get happier if I consume more of X1 because I'm willing to give up 2 units of X2 to get X1, but it's relatively cheaper. So if you're at point B, you would be happier if you consume more of X1 and less of X2. And that's exactly what you do if you get to this point. All right, so this is the mathematical representation by looking at the slopes, what the optimal bundle is, and then I've also explained to you theoretically what it means to be on an optimal bundle. So make sure you understand that, and this concludes the budget line and the indifference curve part of consumer behavior. The next topic, which we're going to derive based on what we've learned so far, is a very important concept called the demand curve. So that's what we're going to start next time. Again, keep in mind, always think of examples. If the next time you go on a vacation, keep this in mind, and hopefully you'll make better choices. All right, see you then.